2024 had a lot of great community days, but also some pretty bad ones. Bruh. But that's all in the past, and today we're taking a look at the future of Pokemon Go and what I think the community days of 2025 will be. Now, looking back at my predictions of community days in 2024, I want to go through how well I did so you guys can get an idea of how good my predictions are and if you should actually listen to me. January community day was Rowlet, January community classic comm day was Porygon, and February community day was Chansey, which I technically did all get correct, but it's because these were all revealed at the time I made my predictions video last year. Then we had March community day, which ended up being Litten. Now, I did guess Litten last year for comm day in May, so I got that one half right, half a point, because I got the right mon, but not the right month. April community was then Bellsprout. I don't think anyone expected this. I did not expect this, did not get anywhere near this. And same with April community classic for Bagon. That's a pretty good community day classic for April. We then had a community day in May for Bound Sweet, which, yeah, I did not see that coming either. But June, I did get completely correct with Gumi getting the month and the mon right. Granted, you know, pretty easy to predict those Pokemon because it's always the pseudo legendary in June, but still pretty cool. I got that right. June community classic was Cyndaquil. No, got that one wrong. And July community was Tynamo, which I got completely wrong as well. And you might be like, what, Dax, you actually suck at predicting comm days, but I did get one more right. August, Popplio. I guess the exact month and the exact Pokemon for Popplio in August. Then in August classic, we did get Beldum community day classic, which I did say there was going to be a Beldum comm day classic last year. I did think it was going to be in July. Ended up being in August, only 1 month off, not bad. September community was Ponyta and Galarian Ponyta. I did guess Darumaka and Galarian Darumaka, so I did have the theme correct, but I got the Pokemon wrong and the month wrong. So anyway, October was Swaddle. Did not think Swaddle was going to come to, like, some of these comm days we got last year, did not expect them. And then finally, November comm day was Mankey, which I did say we were going to get a Mankey comm day last year. I did guess that it was going to be in October. So again, only 1 month off. A couple of these I actually got really, really close. And then December comm day, of course, was a recap, which I did predict we were going to get the recap, but it happens every year. Overall, I got 5 out of 16 correct. Technically, 3 of those include gimmies. 4 out of 16, I got the wrong month, but I got the right Pokemon. And then 7 out of 16, I got incorrect. Anyway, let's dive into 2025. What do I think are going to be the community days? Okay, we're going to start off with January, of course. When you're watching this video, we might even know what January community day is, so we can already find out if my prediction was correct or not. But I am a believer that the Gen 8 starters are going to come, so we're going to get Grookey in community day, which can of course evolve into Rillaboom. My guess for the moves that Rillaboom is going to get is of course Frenzy Plant, along with Drum Beating getting added to its moveset like we see every single community day, where the starters get the regular starter moves and then also an exclusive move to them. That's what I'm going to say here. This could be Grookey, this could be Sprigatito. We did see Sprigatito in this season's trailer, so it might be Grookey, might be Sprigatito. My guess is that they're going to want to continue dropping the starter community days in order of generations, but if they do want to skip it, because technically Sprigatito was in the game before Grookey, we might jump to Gen 9 starters for 2025 and then jump back. But I'm a believer Gen 8 is coming for community. Let's move on to February. February, based on last year where we got a Pokemon that has a baby form and an evolution, I've gone with the same strategy, and I think Jigglypuff is going to be our community day for February. Jigglypuff, of course, can hatch from Igglybuff, and you can evolve it into Wigglytuff. Now, from the evolution, 3 potential moves I think it's going to get. Number 1, Rollout. Number 2, Magical Leaf. And number 3, Drain Punch. I would just love to see Wigglytuff overall just get a move other than Charm for a fast move. So Rollout, give it Rollout, I don't know. But I could definitely see Jigglypuff being our February comm day, especially because it's kind of like a lovey Pokemon, and February is Valentine's Day, blah, blah, blah. Moving on to March though, of course, last year we got Litten, so we might move along and get the Fire starter with Scorbunny being March's community day. Now, of course, Scorbunny evolves into Cinderace. We're probably going to get Blast Burn on Cinderace, as well as Pyro Ball as another move added to Cinderace's move pool as a non-legacy move. Now, something I forgot to mention for Grookey, Scorbunny, and Sobble, which we'll talk about later, they all have Gigantamax forms. With Gigantamax being a big thing in Pokemon Go now, Niantic is really trying to push it. I could definitely see the reason they want to drop the Gen 8 starters first is because Gigantamax is in game and they want to get moving along with dropping the Gigantamax of these Pokemon. We could even see the Gigantamax forms of these Pokemon dropping like right after comm day or near comm day. Maybe not, might not happen. But overall, I do think Gen 8 starters will potentially come because Gigantamax is such a big thing, and all 3 of them do have Gigantamax forms. Moving on to April though. Last year, April's comm day was Bellsprout, a Generation 1 Pokemon that no one really cares about. So I do think that they're going to follow on these footsteps because the only thing we can really do is look at trends. And I think Pidgey will get a calm day. I was looking at all the Generation 1 Pokemon. There's not a lot of 3-stage Pokemon left that haven't had a calm day. Pidgey, in my opinion, is one that could definitely fit that slot, evolving all the way up into Pidgeot, getting Quick Attack, Sand Attack, Steel Wing, Fly maybe as a move, and potentially even adding Roost to the move pool. Don't think this is gonna be a very fun calm day overall, but I do think, you know, April, the spring is coming, birds chirping. Maybe I'm grasping at straws. Moving on though to the next calm day for May. May is when spring is in full effect, and I do think Flabébé would be a great fit for a calm day this year, or a calm day any year. Niantic, give us Flabébé calm day. Flabébé, of course, has like different flower forms, so you could get all sorts of different rare flower forms as well, depending on where you are playing it in the world. In terms of moves that Florges could get, I could see it getting Trailblaze, Magical Leaf, and Swift. There's not many moves that I think Florges really needs to get any better. It doesn't really have any coverage options in terms of its move pool, so we'll have to wait and see if we get that, but I would love to see a Flabébé calm day. I think that could be one of the better calm days of the year. Let's talk about June though. June, of course, last year was Goomy. The year before that was Dino, right? I think. June is always the calm day of the pseudo-legendary Pokemon that got released as a shiny at last year's Go Fest. Jangmo, of course, was the shiny release of Go Fest 2024, so Jangmo will most likely get its calm day in June. This one I would bet money on because it happens year after year, and I've never gotten this wrong. Jangmo, of course, can evolve into Ko-Mo-O, which has 2 signature moves, Clanging Scales, I think is how you say it, and Clangorous Soul. So 2 moves. Don't know if we'll get both. We'll probably potentially get 1. These are the signature moves of Ko-Mo-O. We could also just see Ko-Mo-O getting like Breaking Swipe, or can it learn Outrage? Maybe it can learn Outrage already, but like some sort of just basic dragon move, Dragon Breath if it can learn it. But I would love to see some signature moves on Ko-Mo-O. Moving on to July though. July last year was Tynamo, a Generation 5 Pokemon, kind of forgotten to be honest. Generation 5 has a lot of great suitors for calm day, and I've thrown Tympole, similar to Tynamo with the T, as the potential calm day. This is actually one I predicted last year that never happened. Tympole, of course, can evolve into Seismitoad. It is a great shiny in my opinion, and for moves it could get Drain Punch, Bubble Beam, Ice Punch, Icy Wind, and potentially the new buffed Mud Slap. I think Seismitoad does have some potential to potentially make its way as a mud slapping Pokemon, but July could definitely end up being a filler calm day if we do get Tympole, because I don't see Seismitoad making too many waves. That moves us on to August though, which I did get right last year with Poplio being in calm day. Now this year, again, I do think Sobble, if we get the Generation 8 starters, this is what I'll say, if we get the first Generation 8 starter Pokemon in calm day this year, then we'll probably get all the other ones. That's kind of how I'm going to see this going down. So if we do end up getting Grookey, then most likely we will end up getting Sobble. Now August, Sobble of course can evolve into Inteleon. We'll probably get Hydro Cannon, as well as potentially Snipe Shot, its signature move, as another move added to its move pool. Moving on though to September. September last year, we got Ponyta and Galarian Ponyta, and I've been waiting for the longest time for a Darumaka calm day. Darumaka of course has regular and Galarian Darumaka form, and I do think this year it's gonna happen. In terms of moves it could get, Darmanitan could get Fire Punch and Flare Blitz, and Galarian Darmanitan could get Powder Snow or some sort of ice move. I also do think this calm day could give a huge possibility for Zen mode of Darmanitan making an appearance. Would love to see that Pokemon. We've been waiting for a long time, so hopefully it gets released alongside during calm day. Overall, I really do hope we see this calm day this year, especially because it does follow the Galar / non-Galar theme of that they're going for apparently. Now October last year was Sewaddle, no clue why, so I've just thrown in a random wildcard Pokemon, Venipede, a Pokemon I think will get a calm day at some point. Pretty cool Pokemon to be honest, evolves into Scolipede. Scolipede could get Rollout, Poison Sting, Rock Blast, or Bulldoze. Pretty much a lot of moves that could make Scolipede a lot better. Overall, yeah, I really October, I have no clue. I'm just gonna say Venipede. Also could, I guess, be some like Ghost Darky Pokemon. Moving on to November though, last year in November, we got Mankey, which of course evolves into Annihilate. Now another Pokemon that I would love to see in Pokemon Go, of course, Kingambit, which if you don't know is the evolution of Pawniard, but was only released in Generation 9, similar to Annihilate. So Pawniard calm day, I would love to see evolving all the way up into Kingambit with the move Kowtow Cleave as its signature move that we will get for this Pokemon. Most likely I could see if we do end up getting Kingambit earlier in the year, then most likely it means they're probably setting up for a November calm day, because that's kind of how Mankey worked last year. We got Annihilate earlier in the year, and then that got thrown into a calm day. Finally, of course, December calm day is going to be the December recap, where we will recap all of 2025's Community Day Pokemon. Okay, that is it. But however, I do want to also throw out some wildcard Pokemon, which are Pokemon that could fit those months that I'm not 100% sure of, or I'm not 100% sure where to fit them in the Rose. Starting off with Magnemite Comday, would love to see that Pokemon get a Comday. Aeron, would love to see that Pokemon get a Comday. Execute, I think could also be a really good Pokemon to get a Community, especially with its Alolan form, where we potentially like get the choice to evolve it into either form. Litleo is another Pokemon that I think could fit for a cool Comday, and same with Carablast and Shelmet Comday, which technically are two different Pokemon, but I do think they would fit well in a Comday together because they are kind of matchy buddy Pokemon. Now finally, in terms of Community Classics for the year, we did not cover that, but we usually end up getting 4 Community Classics every single year, one every 3 months. The ones I think we're gonna get this year, number 1, Totodile or Chikorita, one of the two. I would prefer Totodile, especially of how well Feraligatr is doing in the meta right now, but I do think that is next up because, you know, we got Cyndaquil, so those are next. Anyway, Ralts is another Pokemon I would love to see they get the Comday. If you haven't seen, Mega Gallade Energy is in game, so I would love to see some sort of Community Classic earlier in the year for Ralts so people can get ready for Mega Gallade, which is most likely coming very soon. We also have Rhyhorn I would love to see get a Community Classic. This is a very strong Pokemon. Rhyperior is very good in the meta right now. Overall, I don't think anyone would complain, and we do need some banger Community Classics because last year we got Beldum and Bagon. We got to step up to that. We got to be able to, you know, perform with that, and that's why I think the last Community Classic will be Gible. This has of course been asked for the longest time. You know, people want to see Gible Comday come back, and you know, people are like, oh, it happened so recently. It happened in 2020. It's been 4 years since Gible Comday, so I think Gible could definitely make its fit back into Community with a Community Classic this year. They're gonna want a good Community Classic for the summer anyway, and what better way to bring trainers back to the game than throwing Gible in there. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, watch the one below. You will enjoy that one as well. Let me know what you think of my Community predictions and what you think is right, what do you think is wrong, and what would you predict for Communities in 2025. We'll catch you on the next one. Forward to everybody. Peace.